Hi everybody, it's Suzanne from Ohio. I'm just picking up where I left off in my last video. I wanted to show you a couple things. In my last video, I was telling you about using my Inktense and how that's done and why I'm using it, basically to make backgrounds for my bird fabric collages. So here's the follow-up, because where I left off last time was I was painting this oak leaf and showing you how the Inktense works. And since then, I did stitch around it. I didn't do a heavy slow stitch of any kind. I really just did minimal so that it wouldn't get overpowered with stitches. That's just simply how I want to do it. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, what are you going to use that for? Well, I will probably square it off and mount it on the front of a journal cover or a needle book, or I might just hang it up and look at it for a while. I hope all of you have some place where you can display your artwork, whether it's fabric, paper, or paint. I wish you would have a place to look at your artwork, because it will inspire you. You will inspire yourself. Plus, your creativity grows as you look at something and you begin to have ideas how to use it. So that's probably what I'll just do with that little person right there, that oak leaf. All right, now as far as the bird kits go, this is what I was working on the last time I saw you. And I did a new pattern from my Etsy store for a goldfinch. And I did work this one up as a sample. So I don't know if you'd be able to see some of my stitches and how I did it or not. But he makes a cute little applique. And as I was saying, what we were doing last time is talking about a background setting for these birds. Now you can come up with your own, which I have many times. It can be simple, something just like quilt scraps sewn together or laid on top with a raw edge stitch. But I have these, as you know from my last video. These are quilt blocks that are meant to be embroidered and then sewn into a quilt. Well, I knew I was never going to do that, but I've always wondered what I could do with them if I painted on them. So I came up with this one for a goldfinch because he's the perfect little bird for this setting. And then I can put him anywhere I want. I could put him over here, which I like that real well. And I like to use a lot of fabric scrap textiles. I cut them apart and shred them and do whatever with them. And this is the perfect piece for this because the shades of green are not fighting each other. And I might add some other things there. And over here, if you look at my last video, I had placed 2 mushrooms, which that would be good too. Or I can embroidery a simple couple little flowers right on here. And I can see that that would be a good space for just a simple, I could embroidery a couple little just grassy type things in that area and call it done. I will finish this off with the traditional quilt binding, but that gives you the idea for the goldfinch. So since I now have my goldfinch, a new kit up on my Etsy site, I do want to show it to you because I really am happy with this one as a new kit. Like I said in the last video, it's a little bit user-friendly and especially beginner-friendly. So here's the one I did. I pieced it together according to the pattern that I drew up, and it is quite simple. And you could make it even more simple if you don't want to add all these different fabrics in there. But I think he's charming, and like I said before, you could almost use these as is. All you would have to do is make sure all the edges were glued down. And if you're not sure about any of that process, go back and watch my last two videos prior to this one. So here's what the Goldfinch kit looks like. The first thing you get, of course, is your foundation, which is muslin, felt, and a non-woven backing. And I have put the pattern right on the fabric for you with all the corresponding numbers to the pattern piece. You also get, excuse me, a picture, a paper copy of how I executed mine, in case you want to follow along or you just want some ideas. And here's a new thing in my kit. You get what it looks like halfway through and what it looks like with all the pieces on. And comparing the two, you can go back and forth and determine exactly what you want to do. Okay, another new thing I've put in my kits is pardon me. I instructed you before to trace off the pattern pieces onto freezer paper. And I realize for some people, they just don't have it at hand, or maybe they don't want to fuss and take the time to do that. So what I have done is I have printed it off for you already on freezer paper. So it will, all you do is cut out these individually, iron them on to whatever color is appropriate for that number. Like this is section C, and I put a little dash mark under it so you can see that. This is A, B, C, let's see, A, B, C, and D. And those are the basic foundation pieces. Then all these other little things just lay on top of them. Makes it real easy. You also get a plain paper print if you want to trace your own and you want to change it for any reason. And then here's what your fabric swatches look like. Quite a beautiful assortment. You have all the yellows and golds that you need, choice of 3 different blacks, choice of the whites, and a choice of 2 different things for the bill. And also a little piece of felt, which you can see right there. I've cut that little circle out for his eyeball. So that's your kit for the new Goldfinch, and it's already up on my Etsy site. If you're interested to even just look at the pictures, go there and check it out. And if you think you can make your own, wonderful. And if not, you might want to purchase one of my kits, because there's absolutely no end to what you can do with it. Now, back to this idea of painting on these felts or quilt squares. I find these patterns at the thrift store all the time, and I've always wanted to turn them into something. So I've been playing around with this concept, this idea, and here is a dresser scarf. So on the dresser scarf, let me find my cursor here, there was a row of these meant to be violets. Well, what I decided to do was imagine that someone would want this piece for the front of, say, a needle book, a journal, or just do partial of it and include it in a collage, whatever you want to do with it. It is printed on linen, so what I did was I drew 2 more violets and 2 leaves enlarged, and I placed them sort of in the background of that cluster of violets. And that's all I painted, because I like the idea of showing some of the original print, because that tells the history of our embroidery. When things came printed on fabric, or you bought those paper patterns and ironed them on yourself, and you could enhance that any way you want or not, just leave it alone. So that's my concept. This will be up on my Etsy site as is, for you to do whatever you want to with it. So that one is one of the first ones I got painted. And then I did the Morning Glories, which is back to the quilt squares. Now, these prints on the quilt squares are not anatomically or botanically totally correct. So, but it still makes a beautiful image. And so I painted these as a heavenly blue morning glory, and then just went around them a little bit with a micron pen to sort of correct the errors in their printing. All right, so I had a lot of fun doing that, and I will have several more images up on my Etsy site for sale for whatever use you want to use them for. Now, if you decided to use this as a background and get a bird kit, you could do something like that. Doesn't that look charming with him in the background? So I even thought of the idea, you could cut this off. You wouldn't have to have the full image on anything. If you were doing a book cover, you could fold that over the edge or whatever. But there is the possibilities of what a nice background can do for anything that you're creating. So I thank you for watching. I know it's a short video, which will suit some people really good. And be in touch. Leave me a like or subscribe if this is the kind of content you're interested in. And check back, because I will have more of these backgrounds painted real soon. Bye for now from Northeast Ohio.